Brett joins us now. Brett, I was just telling people you've got a new book coming out a week from today, and you might be already ramping up for To Rescue the Constitution. I've read this already. I'm going to read it again before we talk. How is the early demand for book appearances going?
You were shocked, and kind of kicking off next week. I'll be out your way, Nixon and Reagan Library, and I'll be bouncing all around the country. So you can go to brettbaier.com, and there's a schedule of events.
Now, you wrote the great book about Grant. We talked about To Rescue the Republic a couple of years ago. To Rescue the Constitution is brand new. You're going backwards. Which was more fun to write? Which was easier to write? Because they're both fascinating episodes. I knew nothing about last year's, the Reconstruction effort. I know a lot about the constitutional effort, but you come at it as a writer for a big public. Which was more interesting to do?
I actually like this book better. I like them both. I fell in love with the process, as I told you before. But I think that this book, for me, goes back to the founding fathers and the principles and really George Washington as a person. And I just think it's more important in the big picture for our country. And in that way, I think it's more valuable. I do love the Grant story because people overlook him as a president. And I think a lot of people enjoyed that. So hopefully they'll see the same, enjoyment out of this one.
To Rescue the Constitution comes out a week from today. We'll talk with Brett when it's out and you're able to buy it, but you can pre-order it right now. Brett, tonight you could charge for a special report. Tonight you could actually charge admission because you got Chris Christie and Vivek Ramaswamy. I'm not sure you're going to be able to get in a question. What do you think?
Yes. So we've had this back and forth. The candidates are really, really into it and really want to do it. The RNC does not and feels that any two candidates on the same stage thereby indicates a debate, which even though we called it a candidate's corner and an in-depth discussion, they really don't want that to happen. So we're going to press it and see what happens today, but it may be back-to-back interviews, which is disappointing. I thought that this would be kind of a new venue to look into, able to talk about issues in depth. But the RNC sees it differently, and we're going to make an appeal. But as of right now, it'll be back-to-back.
Well, that will still be fun in the green room. Can we pipe in the green room live? Because that would be fun, too.
Maybe so. I mean, I'm definitely going to have some kind of interaction, whether they ask each other questions or something like that, flip a coin. I mean, the thought process was just, as you know, trying to get to the heart of issues in a long format. So I was willing to give 45, 50 minutes of the show to be able to do that and offered it to every candidate. So we thought that it was a way around some of their concerns, but the RNC sees it differently.
Yeah, I do not know what the RNC rule set is, but I will tell you this. The longer that candidates talk, the better that people who watch understand them. So even if it's back-to-back, it's still pay-per-view. I'm not sure who I'd have go first. Do you flip a coin if you have to do back-to-back?
I'm going to flip a coin. I think that's how I have to do it because otherwise whoever goes second has the advantage of – I may put them in a soundproof booth. I don't know what I'm going to do. But
it is piped into the green room. And the green room is more fun than any of the shows, actually, because Molly Hemingway, Guy Benson, and I, and Meredith were in there last night, and Tom, who was on with Laura, and it was just a fabulous conversation about things that never get talked about. So pipe in the green room. Brett, I got to ask you about golf at this point. I got to talk to you about the Ryder Cup. I know you got up early. I don't. All right, I read the results at the end, and I watch on tape delay, but you were probably up early to watch. What the heck happened to the American team?
The Euros were really, really strong, and they just had this kind of passion. They had really good guys that were hitting their stride. Victor Hovland, probably one of the best players out there right now. Rory McIlroy seemed to be supercharged, and they just had a lot of chemistry. I think the American team had some good folks on it, but they just got in too big of a hole out front. But, yeah, I did get up at 5:30 in the morning to watch and watched all day. But they almost did it. They were coming back, but fell short.
Brett, I don't know if your publisher will agree with this, but I think you ought to write to save the game. Because the game when I was your age and when I was very young was everywhere and omnipresent and everyone played it. Golf went into decline. It's coming back. You may be a future PGA commissioner because you love the game, but what do you think? Do you think Americans are losing interest in golf or is it coming back?
So I think the game itself is in resurgence. I think it's since COVID, more and more people got addicted to golf, and COVID enabled golf to go up actually in numbers because people had to get outside and wanted to. I think that the Live PGA thing kind of has a little bit of bad taste in people's mouths about how the operation of golf is going. But the game itself, I think, is pretty strong.
All right. Well, I'm putting you forward as the next PGA commissioner because they need somebody to come out and actually defend the game. Bret Baier, looking forward to talking to you about To Save the Constitution. George Washington, the effort to save the Constitution comes out next week. I'll talk to you then, Bret. Thank you so much.
Thanks.